Story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Ebulomo Adekunle. In our major story, Nigerian authorities say they are not sure negotiations are going on with real Boko Haram. Federal government confirms the appointment of Suleiman Abba as Inspector General of Police. PDP member seeks removal of Adamu Mwazo from office as national chairman. Outside Nigeria, Ukraine President Petro Poroshenko sends troops to eastern part of the country aftermath separatist election. And now into details. Nigerian authorities have admitted that government negotiators may have not been speaking with the real leaders of Boko Haram more than 2 weeks after announcing a ceasefire deal. This position emerged at the National Council of State meeting presided over by President Goodluck Jonathan. Akwa Ibom State Governor Godswill Akpabio, who briefed journalists on the outcome of the meeting, also insisted that no agreement has been reached. He, however, confirmed that the Chadian government facilitated meetings with people who claimed to be represented
contact with the Republic of Chad was made, and that some persons who acted on behalf of Boko Haram and who claimed to have authority also had discussions with them, and then some Nigerian officials were with them. And then, of course, no agreement has been reached yet. It's just that the press may probably misunderstood what was reported. The discussions are ongoing. What came out from the National Security Advisor's briefing was the fact that the president will do everything possible to ensure the release of those young girls and to ensure the protection of lives and properties. And that will include dialogue where you can have the people to dialogue with, because you cannot dialogue with people who are faceless. And so we must do everything possible to ensure that on both sides the casualties are minimized and that peace returns to the country in the shortest possible time. We are all very concerned, and we look forward to a day where the real Boko Haram people will come out and actually have a direct dialogue with Nigerians so that peace can return to the northeastern region.
Chief of Defense Staff Air Marshal Alex Badi insists that Nigeria is not helpless in spite of the upsurge in Boko Haram attacks in the northeast in recent weeks. He was responding to questions from State House correspondents who sought his views on the recent loss of his hometown in Adamawa State to insurgents.
So what are we doing to reclaim our fallen territories to Boko Haram, sir?
No, don't worry. We'll talk later.
Are we helpless?
How can Nigeria be helpless? How can Nigeria be helpless? So that's his own home base.
They say Mubi have been reduced.
Listen. If CDS loses his hometown, it's the same thing as losing Lagos. It's the same thing as losing Enugu. Any part of Nigeria that is lost, CDS carries the weight. Okay, so it's immaterial whether it's my hometown, whether it's my house that is burnt, or Emeka's house, or whoever's house burnt in Nigeria, the CDS is paid.
What is that?
The United Nations has allocated $3.5 million for humanitarian operations in northeast Nigeria. The fund, according to the UN Resident Coordinator Dauda Ture, is for the water, sanitation and hygiene needs of displaced persons in Borno and Yobe states. A UN statement indicates that the allocation brings the total funding for Nigeria in 2014 to $5 million. It comes few weeks after the $1.5 million the World Body granted to aid agencies to help stem the Ebola crisis. According to the most recent assessment by the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, more than 740,000 people have been displaced since January 2014 in northeast Nigeria. The Council of State, presided over by President Goodluck Jonathan, has confirmed the appointment of Suleiman Abba as the substantive Inspector General of Police. It was confirmed at a police council meeting held in the presidential villa shortly before the Council of State session. Presidential spokesperson Ruben Abati disclosed these to newsmen at the State House. Abba was appointed acting Inspector General of Police on August 1st after the retirement of his predecessor, Mohamed Abubakar. He is the country's 17th indigenous head of the Nigerian
I think the
police.
issue is not about the person of Mr. Abba. I think the issue I'm referring to is the decision of the IG to withdraw the security details of the of the Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives, Honorable Aminu Tambuwa. Now, before then, I'm not aware that anybody had issues. It is the decision of the police, which shocked many of us, myself inclusive, that has led to those settlements. But incidentally, this issue was not discussed at council because, as the president advised, because the matter is in court, the council could not discuss it. Now, I think that is all I would say. I'm clear that the IG must see Nigeria for what it is. It's a multi-party democracy. It must act according to the police law, not according to police convenience. These are my personal views.
Reflection on the responsibilities, reflection on the expectations. Certainly, I have to work hard to ensure that I meet up to the expectations of the office. Truly, Nigerians, and in fact, all people in Nigeria deserve the best from us so that we make the environment safer and secured. I assure you, having reflected on all this, we will ensure that we manage all the resources in the charge of the Nigeria Police to ensure that they are used judiciously for the safety and security of the people in Nigeria.
The police authorities are to deploy British-trained police personnel to protect judicial officials and judges. To this end, the Inspector General of Police, Suleiman Abba, has commissioned the first batch of the Close Protection Unit for judicial officers and judges trained by operatives of the Royal Military Police of the British Army. Speaking at the event, the IG says the unit is meant to reassure judges, especially the ones handling terrorism-related cases, of adequate police protection to enable them discharge their duties without fears. He also used the occasion to thank the British government and sought greater collaboration in areas of training and intelligence sharing. The occasion was attended by the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Andrew Pocock, and the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Abuja, Justice Ibrahim Auta. Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola has called on residents to resist the federal task force controlling traffic on federal roads in the state. Fashola, who describes the activities of the task force as illegal, was speaking at the 5th anniversary of the resuscitation of voluntary uniformed organization in Lagos public schools at the Police College ground in Ikeja. Abiola Oluwale's report at the event is presented from our studios. We'll bring you that report later. A fresh challenge has come for the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Adamu Muazu. As a member of the party, Emmanuel Onu filed a fresh suit asking the Federal High Court in Abuja to remove him from office as national chairman of the party. Onu asked the court to remove Muazu and reinstate the immediate past national chairman of the party, Bamanga Tukur, whose resignation on January 15, 2014, he argued was not in conformity with the provisions of the party's constitution. Muazu was on January 15 appointed by the party's National Executive Committee to succeed Tukur, who the plaintiff argued resigned under circumstances that never followed due process. A lawyer and a member of the PDP, Ezionye Ndubisi, had on September 23rd filed a similar suit before the same court, seeking an order sacking Muazu as the PDP national chairman. Ndubisi had asked the court to remove Muazu on the grounds that he did not emerge as the national chairman of the party through an election at a special convention of the party as stipulated by the party's constitution. The older case has yet to be heard by the court. Onu, who anchored his fresh suit on grounds similar to those of Ndubisi, joined as defendants the PDP, Muazu, and the Independent National Electoral Commission. He argued the resignation of Tukur and the subsequent appointment of Muazu was a violation of sections 4 to 7, subsections 5 and 6 of the PDP Constitution 2012. One of Nigeria's newest political parties, the United Progressive Party, says it will make a difference in the 2015 general elections by fielding credible candidates for all elective positions. To ensure this happens, the party says female aspirants on the party's platform would not be required to pay any nomination fee. National Chairman Chekwas Okorie told journalists after the party's National Executive Council meeting that UPP is keen on doing well in its first election since its registration in 2012. Okorie, who was the founding chairman of ABGA, also made a case for a level playing field for all political parties, irrespective of their pedigree.
The National Executive Committee approved the guidelines and timetable for our party's congresses / primary elections for all elective offices in the country, including the presidential primary election / National Assembly, National Convention. The National Executive Committee directs that only eligible candidates who have fulfilled the minimum condition contained in the party's guidelines for the general election shall be sponsored by the party to fly the party's flag at the elections. Exception is, however, made for female aspirants who are not required to pay nomination fees in line with our party policy on gender issues as contained in the party's manifesto. The National Executive Committee urges the Independent National Electoral Commission to continue to do all that is necessary to ensure that the 2015 general election is free, fair, credible, and transparent. The National Executive Committee urges President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan to encourage and indeed direct all security agencies, especially the Nigeria Police, to exhibit high level of discipline, civility, non-partisanship, and even-handed in all its activities before, during, and after the elections.
NOI polls say the approval rating for President Goodluck Jonathan has dropped by 14 points to 60%. The pollsters described the decline as substantial few weeks after Jonathan's job rating hit the 74% mark. NOI polls noted in a statement that the drop in rating may have a lot to do with the failed promises on a ceasefire deal with Boko Haram insurgents, as well as failure to secure the release of the abducted Chibok schoolgirls. There are also concerns over the worsening power supply across the country. Its added sectoral analysis shows that many Nigerians rated the president's average in many areas aside from security, where the job performance is ranked poor across the board. The greatest decline in the president's approval rating was recorded in the Northeast with 28 points, in the Northwest 26 points. It's still CoreTV News, and it's the primetime news. We'll be back after this break.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water, or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces, or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees, or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Thank you for being there. And here is a reminder of the stories that made our headlines. Nigerian authorities say they're not sure negotiations are going on with real Boko Haram sect. Federal government confirms the appointment of Suleiman Abba as Inspector General of Police. PDP member seeks removal of Adamu Muazu from office as national chairman of PDP. Speaker of the House of Representatives Aminu Tambuwal says he's not surprised by the court's decision to stop alleged moves by PDP lawmakers to reconvene the House this week. The Speaker spoke on the sidelines of a strategy meeting by the APC caucus in the House with the party leadership in Abuja. He described the judiciary in glowing terms.
I expected not anything less from the Nigerian judiciary that have, over time, proven to be a very well judicious. Well, I think I don't want to comment on that for now. Let me avoid that. But I have this to say. that this is not about me, it's about the institution of the National Assembly, it's about our hard-earned democracy. And I commend lovers of democracy in this country and beyond for their support for the sustenance of our democracy.
Nigeria's largest opposition party, the All Progressives Congress, is comfortable with a court order directing all parties to maintain status quo on the suit filed by its lawmakers against moves to declare Speaker Aminu Tambuwal's seat vacant. The party leaders have also decided to suspend measures they were putting in place to respond to actions taken by the People's Democratic Party. Party spokesman Lai Mohammed disclosed this to newsmen on Monday night after a lengthy meeting with members of the APC caucus of the House of Representatives.
Tell us what the outcome of this meeting, what this meeting was about, and the outcome.
Well, we met to deliberate on the issue of the Speaker, Right Honorable Aminu Tambuwal, especially the rough tackle that the PDP federal government is leveling. But the ground has been softened before the meeting by the ruling of Justice A.R. Mohammed, who asked that the status quo be maintained and that the House cannot reconvene until November 7, when the parties are before him. All we did after was to take briefings from all the members and the party in respect of our coming convention and primaries. That is sum total of our discussions.
So what is your reaction to the court case?
Newly confirmed Inspector General of Police Suleiman Abba has refused to speak on his decision to withdraw the orderlies of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Aminu Tambuwal. He told State House correspondents shortly after the National Council of State meeting that since the matter is in court, he would prefer to remain silent.
Well, that is a matter before the courts, and that is, prejudice for me to comment on it. So it is a matter before the court. I think we have to wait for that. I wouldn't want to have any problem with the share.
But does it concern you that that matter is hitting up the polity?
Well, it's still a matter before the court. I think whatever the consequences to the polity, we have to wait for that.
Party leader of the House of Representatives, Mulikata Kondi-Adiola, says the Speaker, Aminu Tambuwal, his deputy, Emeka Ihedioha, and Deputy House Leader, Leo Ogo, played a game on her over Tambuwal's defection. Tambuwal had defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress on October 28th. The House leader, who has come under a lot of heat for what the PDP allegedly described as allowing the Speaker to defect under her nose while also getting away with a lengthy adjournment of the House, has tried to exonerate herself of the blame. She says there was no concrete evidence that Tambuwal would defect until he made the announcement after she had moved the motion for adjournment. She says it was at that point she realized the game had been played on her, which involved the Speaker, his deputy, and Deputy House Majority Leader. She says the issue of adjournment was a major issue amongst the House leadership until the majority overruled her a day to the October 28 sitting where the Speaker defected. As the 2015 general elections approaches, INEC's resident electoral commissioner Adekunle Ogunmola enjoins eligible citizens to take part in the permanent voter cards and continuous voter registration exercises, as well as urging them to make the process less tedious for persons with disabilities by giving them preference at collection and voting polls. Omotayalo was at the media launch of Civic Education and Inclusive Voter Participation organized by the State Accountability and Voice Initiative and filed in this report.
Voters' participation at an election forms a vital part of democracy. For a government to be of the people, for the people and by the people, its popularity is tested at the polls by the people. With this in mind, a civil society group, State Accountability and Voice Initiative, SAVI, has stressed the need for maximum electoral participation by eligible citizens, especially those with disabilities.
If you see persons with disability on the queue, just allow them to go to the front. You know, for them coming out, they've gone a long way. So when you see persons with disability on the queue, or pregnant women, or people in the vulnerable groups, just allow them to go to the front so that they could participate.
Election exercises, according to the group, are stressful for persons with disabilities. A wife of a visually impaired and the national president, Deaf Women Association, Adedoyin Beyoku Alase, added that there is need for members of the society to also show respect for the physically challenged.
I am married to a blind person, and I find when I go with my last election, when I go with my husband to vote, it's quite stressful at times. You don't know what you're going to expect at the polling station. You don't know whether the INEC official will, or the security agents are sensitized enough to give you quick access so that you will go back on time, or they know what to do with you, or you don't know. You just believe that we have to just dare to go and vote. We have even this upcoming registration of permanent voters card collection. We have to dare to go and collect it because you don't know what you're going to meet on ground.
During the election, communication must take place, and the deaf person needs to hear what is being said there, what they are doing, and they need to ask, where do I go? What is this? What is that? Even with the registration coming up now, we need to communicate with the registration officer to know what to do and what not to do. That is why I said we need interpreter everywhere.
Resident Electoral Commissioner for Lagos State, Adekunle Ogunmola, expressed the need for Nigerians to fully participate in the forthcoming permanent voter cards and continuous voter registration exercises, while making a commitment to make provision for people with disabilities in the process.
The society has not really developed to what obtains in some other parts of the world. But I do know, like I told them, that when a physically challenged gets to the polling unit, Nigerians have a way of giving them priority when it comes to voting. So they will not be discriminated against in whatever form.
With results of past elections showing little or no representation of the Nigerian population with disabilities, organizers of this event hope for more responsive representation in the 2015 general elections and in the future. Omotayalo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, sitting in Osogbo, has delivered a ruling on the application challenging the competence of the tribunal and that of the petition of the PDP be taken alongside the substantive hearing. Chairman of the panel, Elizabeth Ikpejime, says all other motions will be taken with the substantive matter of the petition. Rashid has more in this report.
Delivering the ruling, which came a day late due to the illness of one of the panel members, Chairman Elizabeth Ikpejime ruled that the preliminary objection challenging the competence of the petition of the PDP and the local standard of the tribunal in hearing the petition be taken alongside the substantive matter. The legal team of both the PDP and the APC, however, differ on the ruling.
This is the first victory. The respondents lost the argument in this application, and the tribunal were very happy that they saw the need for very quick disposal of this petition, and therefore they ruled in our favor that all the preliminary objections should be taken together with the petition.
They will not tell you a thing like that. You see, maybe they were interpreting that motion as an attempt to delay the proceedings, but what you will find is that in several petitions in which we have appeared, in which even PDP Council appeared together with us, these issues were taken preliminarily and resolved by the tribunals. But this attitude varies. from tribunal to tribunal.
Governorship candidate of the PDP, Iyodao Mishore, who attended the tribunal sitting, posits that the ruling is good as it checks the time-wasting strategy of the APC, an assertion quickly dismissed by the APC Council as gross misinterpretation.
So despite the fact that APC and Egbeshola expectedly we want to waste time because they are counting the days we are going to send them out of Osun State, but the petitioner is mindful that just must be done, dispensed off in very good time in the interest of Osun voters.
No. They have not decided. They say we don't want to decide it now. That's what they said. That's the meaning of it. We don't want to decide the question now. We will defer that question until the end of the day. That is the meaning of the ruling.
Observers at the court were, however, surprised to see a former governor of the state, Olagunsoye Oyinlola, who appeared as one of the counsels to the APC. He had this to say on the ruling.
Well, I think I'm just cutting my teeth in the legal practice, and I will not want to commit any somersault. Anything referring to the tribunal, I think you can either ask from the late counsel, Chief Olujimi, or the Attorney General.
With the ruling, all parties present thereafter presented their proposal for the pretrial as the tribunal ordered the filing of formulated issues on the 5th and adjourned sitting till the 6th of November 2014. Rashid, CoreTV News, Oshogbo.
This year's World Engineering Conference on Sustainable Infrastructure has opened in Abuja with participants from over 20 countries. The gathering is a platform for Africans, especially Nigerian engineers, to focus on adopting a multi-sectoral approach in line with global trends. Organizers say professionals must be allowed to provide the necessary technical know-how that will encourage policymakers and industry players to work towards sustainable infrastructural development.
Government must cut down bureaucracy. Bureaucracy can still be in place, and you have things to be done within a week, within a month to be done. We shouldn't be shifting posts and giving all kind of acronym from 120 to another 20, another 20. Government must show very strong political will, clear-cut roadmap, declare an emergency, and put rank bells in round holes, and get the private sector and other stakeholders like even the press involved.
Sustainable infrastructure for Africa, it's very needed for the people, for the countries, for connections between countries, for the electricity, for the roads, for buildings, everything is needed. So what I would like to see that more and more participation of the engineers solving these problems and the construction company to be working closely with the Institution of Engineers of Nigeria to have a strategy how to implement the infrastructure in Africa without any interfering of the outsiders, and we keep the African engineers helping them, not replacing them.
Users of the Lasu Ishere Road have called on the Lagos State government to urgently address the menace of truck drivers who have turned the roads into a death trap by indiscriminately parking on both sides of the road. The urgency of their concerns was aptly captured on Monday, November 3rd, 2014, when a truck with the name Lyrian Nigeria Limited rammed into another truck parked by the roadside due to overspeeding. CoreTV News crew spoke with eyewitnesses and brought back this report presented from our studio.
The accident, which started some minutes past 10 p.m. on Monday night, left the driver dead and the truck mangled, leaving no fewer than 5 people dead and 2 injured.
Because I'm going to share along this road yesterday. Now I can see this motor is coming. This motor under the trailer is coming from fast speed. So all this motor, all these trailers is parking along this road. So one motor want to pass here, but you know give this motor chance to enter the trailer. Immediately, you know it's 2 minutes. Now I can see fire.
I don't know whether police they pursue him or not. I don't know whether they pursue him. So as they come, I saw he come hit this motor. The Guinness is already parked there. So he hit her. After he hit her, so I saw the thing catch fire. The conductor escaped. but the driver won't escape. So glass hold on, whether not glass out the door, the thing can't hold on for waste. So as he hold on, I saw he did there, I saw he did like this. So as he did like this, I saw fire burn now.
Look at all this area. It's petrol station. I'm the one that first fetching water to be off in this thing, and we call all this fire brigade. They said our people they are working, they are not around. That's why when the fire brigade come yesterday, they ought to be beating them. I have to say they should leave them.
Though residents differ on the cause of the accident, they however say the menace of the truck drivers must be addressed to stop further loss of lives.
That the parking of the road, no too much space here. Because everywhere free, no matter how it cannot be like this.
Because of these fellas. Because of these fellas parking here. I got this one. We do every day. I don't know why. I don't know if they have every time this fellas cause problem.
But one thing I would say, we in Nigeria, we don't have security. There's no police, nothing. We don't have, all they know how to do is collect 15 naira. That's all they know how to do. We don't have nothing. Because if that trailer wasn't there, if it wasn't parked on the street, all this shit wouldn't have happened. And it happens to me because of a trailer left on the street. So we in Nigeria, we don't have no security.
The residents say the two injured have been rushed to Bagada General Hospital while also calling on government to curb reckless driving, illegal parking of vehicles along the roadside, and the ones there be removed. Anita Fasunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
We'll take another break now on the CoreTV Primetime News and return with business, sports and other stories outside Nigeria. Don't go away.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes and bleeding from the eyes, ears and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it, don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Thank you for being there. Now to business. The Nigerian Stock Exchange has set a new corporate governance system, which it inaugurated in collaboration with the Convention Business Integrity, will foster greater transparency and better governance in the nation's capital market. Sabena Izoku has the rest of the report.
Corporate governance rating system has been the subject of extensive research due to high-profile corruption in companies. Examining the existing governance rating system, until recently the little attention was paid to the role of corporate governance.
It forms the essential prerequisite for promoting economic growth and reducing poverty, promoting market efficiency, controlling wasteful spending, consolidating on our democracy, and encouraging private financial flows.
Under the corporate governance rating system, companies will be assessed for corporate integrity, fiduciary awareness, and corporate compliance. The corporate compliance, which makes up 50% of the rating, 40% to corporate integrity, and 10% to fiduciary awareness, require the fundamental knowledge to fulfill their roles effectively and lawfully by directors of a company.
Ethics, business ethics and anti-corruption. We're looking at transparency and disclosure. We're looking at internal and external audit and control. We're looking at shareholder and stakeholder rights. and the score at the moment is 70%.
On the part of foreign delegates, Jeremy Brooks, who spoke in lack of diversity in corporate governance and incentives.
Better practices, particularly in business integrity and anti-corruption, but we also looked at what can you do in terms of incentivizing business to behave better. And one of the ways is to create carrots, not just sticks. And if you can create an environment whereby companies which behave better can receive both actual and, if you like, idealistic rewards, then you are creating a series of incentives. And the incentives for participating in the corporate governance rating system now being launched here in Nigeria is that you are
Equity transactions on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange on Tuesday ended on a negative note. The all-share index dipped by 1.61% to close at 36,744.46 basis points. Market capitalization decreased and closes in the same manner at 12.17 trillion naira. In all, a total of 752.77 million shares valued at 4.18 billion naira were exchanged in 4,997 deals. Report shows that international bureaus topped the gainers chart, followed by Guaranty Trust Bank, Axis, Ikeja Hotel and Cortex. On the downside, Nigerian bureaus topped the losers chart, followed by WAPCO, 7up, Forte Oil and Dangote Cement. Meanwhile, here are the top 5 trades. And now to sports. Nigeria's head coach Stephen Keshi and administrator Dayo Enebi say the Super Eagles will pick one of the 2 Group A automatic qualification slots for the 2015 African Cup of Nations despite their slim chances. Reiterated Coach Stephen Keshi says he's confident Nigeria will go past a difficult qualifying campaign on the way to successfully defend their African Nations Cup title next year. Enebi, in the same vein, is optimistic that the Super Eagles will not disappoint Nigerians as they will secure one of the tickets for the biennial tournament. Nigeria must win their 2 remaining games if they hope to defend the title they won in South Africa in 2013. The African champions play Congo in Brazzaville on November 15 and host South Africa 4 days later in Uyo. And now to foreign story. Ukraine's President Petro Poroshenko has ordered many reinforcements to key southern and eastern cities in case of a new rebel offensive. Poroshenko says the units were to protect Mariupol, Berdyansk, Kharkiv and the north of Luhansk region. He spoke after meeting security chiefs in the wake of disputed polls in rebel-held areas of Donetsk and Luhansk. He says he was still committed to the current peace process, but has proposed cancelling a key plank of the plan. The peace process was laid out in a 5th September ceasefire deal agreed in Minsk, Belarus. Angered by the elections, Poroshenko has proposed scrapping a law that gives special status to Donetsk and Luhansk. Both regions staged swearing-in ceremonies for their pro-Russian leaders on Tuesday following the elections. There on Sunday, Alexander Sakharchenko was inaugurated president of the Donetsk People's Republic, while Igor Plotninsky was sworn in as president of the Luhansk People's Republic. The polls were held against the background of a conflict that has killed more than 4,000 people in eastern Ukraine since April. And now, before we wrap up the show, here is a reminder of our top stories. Nigerian authorities have said they are not sure negotiations are going on with real Boko Haram. Federal government has confirmed the appointment of Suleiman Abba as Inspector General of Police. PDP members asked for the removal of Adamu Mwazu from office as the national chairman. That's been the show tonight. On behalf of the entire news crew, I am Ebunlomo Adekunle, wishing you a pleasant night rest.